safely used as a replacement for the many names of all the gods to which you pray. As if the denial of sin, Jesus, and the cross was not enough, A Course in Miracles goes on to claim that there is no devil either, stating, quote, "You have created in your mythology the being you call devil. You have even imagined a god at war with this being. Of course, a real devil does not exist. Using psychic ability is nothing more than using your sixth sense, not trafficking with the devil. There is no devil, each to his own without judgment," end quote. In an article posted on mountainstreampress.org, Warren B. Smith came to the same conclusion that the Jesus being promoted by A Course in Miracles was in fact the spirit of the Antichrist and not the true Jesus Christ. He stated, quote, "My conclusions were inescapable and shocking. A Course in Miracles and the Bible were two completely different thought systems that were mutually exclusive and diametrically opposed in every degree. To my utter amazement, A Course in Miracles was the Holy Bible turned upside down. The Course had not updated or reinterpreted the Bible. It had completely rewritten it," end quote. In another book written by Levi H. Dowling called The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ, the claims are similar in the denial of Jesus' deity by stating that we are all becoming Christs. Levi claims he was able to access the Akashic Records, which is allegedly an ethereal network of intelligence that surrounds the atmosphere of the earth and can be accessed through the spirit or our light body. This is the same place Edgar Cayce claims he received all of his information from as well. In this account, Jesus is not so much denied, but again, painted as a mystical master who had special abilities who simply came to show mankind how to live and become Christs ourselves. Here's a list of claims made by the book as summarized on Wikipedia. Number 1. Jesus puts on the role of the Christ but is not automatically Christ by nature. By making himself through effort and prayer a fit vessel, Jesus enabled the Christ to dwell within him. Christ is therefore used as a term for a perfect human being that Jesus exemplified, a human being that has been christened, anointed, and therefore made holy. 2. Reincarnation exists and is the explanation for various seeming injustices. Reincarnation allows people to settle debts they have incurred in past lives. Number 3. Humanity has forgotten God and is currently working its way back to fully remembering God. Number 4. Time is separated into ages. These ages last approximately 2,000 years. We are now nearing the start of the Aquarian Age. Number 5. All souls will eventually mature and become perfect, like Jesus, thus ending the cycle of reincarnation. Number 6. No soul is ever abandoned by God. There are again several problems with this theology, because they contradict biblical principles and teachings. And no wonder, since once again, these are not revelations given to people from God directly, but are deceiving spirits and false prophets who twist, confuse, and distort the true gospel message. So as you can see, no matter if it's aliens, ascended masters, spiritual gods, or anything else, the consistent message is that of the denial of Jesus Christ as God. There are literally thousands of channeled documents and books from people such as Edgar Cayce, Aleister Crowley, even Napoleon Hill in his famous work Think and Grow Rich. If they were aliens from a faraway galaxy, why not help us with our problems to cure cancer or teach us some form of technology that would help humanity? Why are they directly teaching that Jesus was not God but just another master or teacher?
You'll find that as many people that say that Jesus wasn't really, who he said he wasn't all this stuff, it's predicated on the idea that the Bible isn't an accurate description of what really happened. That always has to go in tandem with that, because anybody that's read the Bible and understands the Bible can make clear cases that Jesus did in fact know exactly what he was doing and exactly what he was saying. That's why the Muslims have to say that the Bible is corrupted. And so the first thing I would ask people is, what do you know? What proof do you have that the Bible was corrupted? Because as I've said before, it would be so easy to prove if it was, because there are more copies for the Bible, the New Testament, than there are for any ancient text in the history of the world. Bar none. And they are extremely scrutinized by people that both hate the Bible and people that love the Bible. So if the Bible had been changed, all a Muslim or anybody else would have to do is to say, here's where the Bible said one thing, And then here these other ones say a completely different thing. All the ones after this said something different about what Jesus said on a particular issue about his deity or whatever else. But nobody can prove it. And the problem is that it would be so easy to prove, because we have documents going back from the very beginning to now. Jesus never came out and said, hey, guess what, guys, I'm God. But he didn't do it for a specific reason. Now, he did actually end up doing that, and that's why they killed him, for blasphemy. You have to realize that that's why they wanted to kill him. A lot of times in the Bible when it says, and after that the Pharisees seek to kill him, if you read what that was, it was because they realized what he was saying. They would say things like, when he said he could forgive sins, they would say, this is blasphemy. Who can forgive sins but God alone? And I got to agree with the Pharisees on that. That's absolutely true. If I came to your house and I said, hey, you know what? I just showed up. My name's Chris. I just wanted to let you guys know that I forgive you for that fight you had this morning, or whatever. I forgive you for being mean to your cousin or your brother. And you would look at me and be like, who are you and what does this concern you? You're acting as if my shortcomings are somehow affecting you. That's crazy. You can't forgive me of my sins. And so that is a big part of that. And he said that quite often. He said that in many different contexts. And the Pharisees do say to us, who can do that but God alone? And so they would seek to kill him and things like that. They would also seek to kill him because he said that he was the Son of God. There's actually places where they said, okay, you're saying that that's your Father and that you're the Son of God. How is that not blasphemy, they would say. You're making yourself equal with God. And this is a really well understood concept in Hebrew. If you call yourself the son of something, you are the embodiment of that thing. Begat of something, if you are begotten of something, you are that thing. For instance, a cat begats another cat. If I have a child, that child is just as much a human as I am. We're equally the same amounts of human. And so for that reason, if God begots a son, it's just as much God. It's not any less than God. So that was a massive claim to say that, especially in the context in which he said it. He claimed to be before time the Son of God. He was the creator of the world. Before Abraham was, I am. His many I am statements are another unbelievably blasphemous thing to say. He was claiming by proxy, and the Pharisees, trust me, were well aware what he was saying. He was claiming to be the voice of the burning bush. Another thing, if you understand Daniel 7, he was claiming to be the cloud rider of Daniel 7. They knew that, and I believe it's John 8. They knew exactly what he was saying, and it messed with their heads. So there's many different things like that. Another big one is that he allowed himself to be worshipped on several occasions. There is several occasions where the apostles would refuse to be worshipped. Angels on several occasions said, hey, don't worship me, I'm just a messenger of God. But Jesus on a number of occasions allowed people to worship him. That is either a completely blasphemous act, or he was doing what everybody knew that he was doing. He was claiming to be God every day of his life, everywhere that he went, and the Pharisees knew it. That's one of the reasons they felt justified in killing him. So if you're reading the Bible and you're reading this the whole time. He claimed that he was going to come at the end of time and judge the world. Who can judge but God alone? Who is worthy to judge but God alone? The issue there really culminates in the cross. And what happened in the cross was an act that would only make sense if God himself was on the cross. The very fact that he knew what he was doing, the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world, and that whole concept of the gospel really makes sense in that context. So when people say that Jesus wasn't claiming to be God, they have to say that the Bible is inaccurate and all those things are not true, because Jesus claimed to be God all the time.
Both the New Age movement and the New World Order are about a coming evolution of mankind, the instant upgrade of humanity into higher spiritual beings, ending religious differences, a golden age where we all attain Christ consciousness, the beginning of a new civilization of mankind. The elite believe that they are the only ones that will attain this utopia, and the rest of mankind are mere cattle in the way of this goal. The New Agers believe that all mankind can attain this utopia if only they follow these esoteric spiritual teachings. In either case, the deception is called out by biblical prophecy. Throughout the centuries, theologians, scholars, Bible students, and even average people have claimed that the end of the world was upon us. Most recently were the claims made by Harold Camping that the end of the world was going to be on May 22nd of 2011. Furthermore, rulers, kings, and political leaders have been falsely labeled as the Antichrist ever since the time of Jesus. Because of these false claims and failed predictions, the urgency of prophecy has become obscure and largely tossed aside in recent years. But there are other prophetic texts which come from the esoteric authors and writers who claim to channel entities that both the New Age and the New World Order seem to be basing their agenda off of. We looked at some of this earlier, but I would like to focus on one particular author, Alice Bailey. Most New Age philosophies, as well as the New World Order agenda, can be traced back to the channeled writings of Alice Bailey. Her ascended master, Dejwa Kul, on many accounts, gave the blueprint for the New World Order and the New Age to Bailey.
Alice Bailey, especially in her book The Reappearance of the Christ, had another prerequisite or series of prerequisites, but a lot of them had to do with the idea that there needed to already be a world government in place. In fact, one of her quotes is, quote, "First of all, he will come to a world which is essentially one world. His reappearance and his consequent work cannot be confined to one small locality or domain unheard of by the great majority, as was the case when he was here before." And she talks specifically in that book about how it's going to be accomplished through the hierarchy, the spiritual beings working with government, organizations, particularly the United Nations. So she has a twofold vision that it's going to basically be a world that is already ready for him in terms of a world government. So I would agree that part of the work that she says is a prerequisite is to build and work on this sort of global government. And that is why they're striving so hard for it, is because they believe they have to sort of build the throne for the world teacher kind of thing before he'll show up. The chaos is another sort of part of what she talks about, is that she recognizes that none of the work that she can do, or that the group of world servers, as she calls them, or the seed groups, they can never do enough preparation, whether it's spiritual preparation or physical building of the system preparation, to actually make any of this work. Consistently throughout the book, The Reappearance of the Christ, she talks about how he will inaugurate the world religion. He will essentially provide the fuel, the power to actually cause the world to believe in a world religion. So I think that a lot of times what she talks about, the chaos that's necessary, is sort of a twofold chaos. One that is necessary for people to agree to a solid world government, to unify the existing system, the fractaled system, but then also to empower through some sort of paradigm shift, some spiritual chaos, the world religion, because there has to be some great spiritual chaos in order to get everybody in the world on board with a new religion, especially a religion that is focused on one particular man. There has to be something major.
Dejwa Kul, through Alice Bailey, is not shy about letting the reader know that Christianity is the one big hurdle in the way to create the New Age suitable for the appearance of the world teacher. She states in The Reappearance of the Christ, quote, "The work and the teaching of the Christ will be hard for the Christian world to accept, though easier of assimilation in the East. Nevertheless, some hard blow or some difficult presentation of the truth is badly needed if the Christian world is to be awakened, and if Christian people are to recognize their place within a worldwide divine revelation and see Christ as representing all the faiths and taking his rightful place as world teacher. He is the world teacher and not a Christian teacher. He himself told us that he had other folds, and to them he was meant as much as he has meant to the Orthodox Christian. They may not call him Christ, but they have their own name for him, and follow him as truly and faithfully as their Western brethren." End quote. This idea is further confirmed when Bailey states, quote, "There are two major factors which condition the present opportunity. These can be regarded as so completely hindering that unless they are removed, there will be a long delay before Christ can return. They are, number one, the inertia of the average Christian or spiritually minded man in every country, Eastern or Western. Number two, the lack of money for the work of preparation." End quote. Bailey also goes on to say how there must be a chaos before the unification of government and religion, and the subsequent appearance of the quote-unquote Christ, stating, quote, "They come in times of crisis. They frequently create crisis in order to bring to an end the old and the undesirable and make way for new and more suitable forms for the evolved